Granny Sarah and the Last Red Kite by Malachy Doyle, and the pictures by Petra Brown. Granny Sarah's cottage, high in the Welsh hills, is Lowry's favourite place in all the world. Her favourite sight in all the world is the red kite soaring over the fields and valleys. She loves its long forked tail, the way it glides with wings spread wide to the wind, and its high, lonely call. And Lowry's favourite story in all the world by far is the one about how Granny Sarah saved the last red kite in Wales. There's Lowry, there's a granny, there's Granny's cottage, and there's the red kite. Have you ever seen them? They're beautiful birds. To me again, Granny, Lowry asks every time she comes to stay. Tell me about the kites. Granny Sarah makes a pot of tea, puts another log on the fire and pulls her chair up close. Long ago, she began, there were kites all over Britain. In those days, they didn't just live in the forests and mountains, they were everywhere. It said they were so tame that they would take bread and butter from the hands of children. And the king passed a law saying no one was to hurt them because they helped to keep the streets of London clean. So what happened, Granny, Lowry asks, sucking on a ginger biscuit. She knows the story back to front, but she always wants to hear it again. Why did they nearly disappear? Oh, says Granny, scowling, some people didn't like them at all. Farmers thought they killed too many chickens, and gamekeepers said they took their young birds. They shot them and poisoned them. And once the kites became rare, people began to steal their eggs. They were driven out of the towns and villages, hunted deep into the hills, and 100 years ago the last red kites in England and Scotland were gone. But there was still some here in Wales, weren't there, Granny? Lowry helps herself to another biscuit. Oh, yes, Cariad, but by the time I was your age, there were hardly any left. Not that we noticed up here on the farm, for there's always been kites round about. But one day a man came and told us that the two nesting in our old oak tree were the last pair in the whole country. My dad was shocked and said he'd do all he could to look after them. From then on, it was my job to keep watch. If a stranger came near, I'd run to fetch Dad. Usually it turned out to be a bird watcher or a traveller who'd lost his way. But if Dad had any doubts, he'd tell the man to clear off and not come back. What about the day your Dad went off to market? This is the scary bit, the bit Lowry likes most of all. What happened then, Gran? Ah, yes, says the old woman, her voice dropping low. One fine spring morning, when Dad had taken some sheep down to Tregaron, I heard a yelling in the wood. I looked up, saw birds scattering from the trees, and they ran. I couldn't see anyone, but then I spotted a rope dangling down from a high branch of the biggest oak tree. I heard a rustling above me and saw someone scrambling up towards the nest. He was trying to steal the eggs. See, look, there he is. But why was he shouting, Gran? Asks Lowry, her eyes wide. Was he trying to frighten the birds? They were frightening him more like. They were swooping all around trying to stop him reaching the nest, and he was screaming at them to keep off. Leave them alone, I yelled at the top of my voice, and he was so surprised that he must have lost his grip, what with the kites attacking him from above and me roaring at him from below. Help, he cried, I'm falling! And he started crashing down through the branches. What did you do, Gran? Weren't you afraid he'd land on top of you? I took hold of the rope and I swung it out under him as he fell, crying, "Grab it, grab the rope." And he did. You saved him, Gran. You saved his life. Well, he still clattered to the ground, but he managed to catch hold of the rope and it slowed him down, all right. Without it, he'd have broken a bone or two, I can tell you that, Cariad. There she is holding the rope. There he is, falling out of the tree. What did you say to him, Gran? Did you give him a row? I certainly did. What do you think you're doing? I shouted. You're lucky you didn't break your neck. I know, he said, groaning as he picked himself up off the ground. I nearly felt sorry for him then. He was no more than a boy, really. A man said he'd give me £5 an egg. My dad's out of work and we need the money. Well, it isn't right, I yelled at him. There'll be no kites left if people like that have their way. Now clear off before my own dad catches you. Clear off and don't come back. Fair enough, said the boy, nodding. There must be better ways of making money. Oh, and thanks, girl, he added with a shy little smile. Thanks for holding out the rope. He hobbled off down the track, and we never saw him again. What did my great-granda say when he came back, Granny? At first, I don't think he really believed me, she replies. Not till I took him down to the woods and showed him the rope. The first thing he did was cut it down, and then he was angry with me for trying to stop a thief of my own, and proud of me. Oops, all at the same time. So, no one shot her or poisoned her or stole her eggs, Granny says, coming towards the end of her story. And the last red kite in Wales had 2 chicks. She came back to the same nest each year from then on, knowing it was safe. Soon the young she'd hatched were making their own nests, having their own chicks, and spreading further and further across the hills and the forests. So that by now, Lowryrach, Granny leans over to grab the last ginger biscuit before her granddaughter gobbles the lot. There might be as many as 1,000 red kites in Wales. But do nasty people still kill them and steal their eggs, Gran? I'm afraid so, Cariad. It still happens every year, but more and more of us protect them and watch out for them. The people of Wales are proud of their red kites and proud to have helped them survive. And the proudest of all is Lowry, for without Granny Sarah there would be no more red kites. Yes, without Granny Sarah and her father, the children of Wales could never again stand on a hillside and feel their spirits soar as they watch those magnificent birds flying free above the treetops, twisting and gliding in the swirling of the wind.